inspiring HR. Welcome to our next and latest episode of Uncomplicating HR. For those of you listening who don't know our core values, one of our core values is simplify. So as not to be redundant, we didn't put simplify in the title of this series. We switched over to a synonym, which is uncomplicating. So uncomplicating HR is this series that we love putting together for our YouTube channel. I am joined today by the fabulous Valerie Juarez, located in Colorado, a member of our leader team and our growth manager, as well as a senior level HR consultant. And then another senior level HR consultant in my book, because she's done such a fabulous job for us over a very short period of time, is the talented Kim Sink, who I am lucky enough to have in my market, which is in the Central Virginia area. Val, why don't you introduce yourself, starting with what is the nickname I have given you?
Oh, when I first joined the organization, Mindy called me Whiz Kid because I would just take things on and figure them out. I don't know if that's because of my Gen X background or the experiences I've had, but there's a problem, I'll figure it out.
And how long have you been with us?
I'll be 10 years next year, so I'm about 9 years and 8 months right now. Yeah.
Fabulous. Good. Well, thank you for joining me today on this topic that we will reveal in just a moment. Kim, why don't you tell everybody why I call you fabulous? Actually, I don't call you fabulous. I call you
Hokey.
I call you Hokey because you've carried the lead with that.
I went to Virginia Tech, and I was born and bred a Hokey. I have a lot of family that went there. So I bleed maroon and orange. I loved my time there. I loved being a Hokey growing up, and I tried to embody a lot about what I learned there. That's where it came from.
It's a good testament for college, I can tell you that. Some colleges need it. Well, thank you both for joining me today. So what we're going to be talking about today is AI, but from the lens of, in our experience with the use of AI, what we believe HR professionals, specifically HR consultants, because that's what we are, can do that AI can't. And this is ahead of us doing a client-only quarterly webinar next week that Val is hosting, that Kim, I believe you're a part of that as well. Right? Did I get that right? Kim is a part of that web. No?
Sonia's joining us.
Oh, good. See, we have diversity of talent for these opportunities. So good. Well, Val is leading next week's client-only quarterly webinar. It's our last one of the year. That is AI plus HR do's, don'ts, and don't even think about it, which we had a little fun with that. But ahead of that, we wanted to get out there to those paying attention to these uncomplicating HR episodes and talk a little bit more about, from our experience, it's not just what is HR for HR professionals, it's learning and understanding what AI's own limitations are. I've shared with some of the individuals here that I have people in a couple of my CEO groups that I don't know if they're serious or not. I don't know if they're just trying to elbow me a little. But this narrative of I don't need to pay an HR generalist anymore because I have AI, yes, of course it gets under my skin. In part, yes, because I am defensive about my profession, but also because I really want to see people be successful. And if you're relying just on AI to do all your HR work, you are a little short-sighted in playing the long game, so to speak. So I'll start with this question, and then we're going to let some natural conversation evolve from here. Kim, I'll start with you. And you know what? This conversation would have been different 12 months ago. So we'll just go as of today, this journey of an accelerated path of AI and what we think about it today. What does HR look like today from the HR lens, the HR point of view? What are your initial thoughts on that?
As it relates to AI?
Yes, yeah. Or the role AI plays for you and where it should play a role for other like-minded HR professionals. What are your thoughts?
I view AI as an HR person as a strategic partner. AI is there when I'm having a day where my brain is not quite working 100%. And I can't quite think of how I want to say something or putting something together. So AI helps me from that perspective. Sometimes if I'm just not sure about how I'm thinking about something, I can quickly put something into chat and it spits out a good thought provoker for me. It does not replace my strategic partners of those people on my team, but I do use it from a strategic standpoint to help me be better in my job. And I think that a lot of HR professionals are doing that. It's not replacing anything; it's just enhancing where we are.
I would agree. Val, same question. Where do you see AI today from the lens of trained HR professional who's been on this accelerated journey to incorporate it in part of her work? What would you say?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about how you can use it to improve communication to the organization, whether it's an internal chatbot for your employees to look up simple Q&A, whether it's resources for your employees so that they're not waiting for the HR person to call them back with quick answers. But realistically, as the HR user, and in a consulting role, and I want to preface that, we are consultants, we're not internal HR, launching a lot of programs. As a consultant, I use it similarly to Kim as an assistant, and Sonia is, of the same mindset of, it's something that helps us become more efficient. I do maybe some more technical work, and how it relates to other HR roles. Maybe that is in the form of scorecards, data analysis. And so when it comes to that kind of information, manipulating it, being able to parse it out and figure out what information needs my focus, it absolutely accelerates that type of work. And so I do find it very valuable, but I don't use it to get answers for complicated issues. I might ask it to start me off on, what might be some employment laws we need to be looking at, but I won't rely on AI to give me the breakout that would be something that I would deliver to someone else.
Right.
Maybe it points me to a link or a government site or a regulation or a change that hadn't come across my radar yet. But it doesn't replace the critical thinking that we have to have when we share that information, when we deliver that information in the form of a policy but I think there's some great tools. I find it interesting when AI can coach you in your meetings and when you record yourself and it tells you, hey, you stuttered a lot, or you repeated the same word, or you have these maybe potentially annoying habits. I think from that standpoint, it really does serve as a great assistant.
Well, good. Then maybe AI will make me feel like I look better in our new website video than I think.
Fine. Stop it.
I don't like being the center of attention. I don't mind hosting things like this, but front and center on the homepage of a website, that really called for me to get out of my comfort zone. So, well, thank you both. The next thing that comes to mind to think about actually dates back to when we put Kim in charge of a project a couple of years ago. I don't even think we had any AI then. I have no idea how fast this has all gone, but I am very proud of our own AI journey. And before Kim, I asked this question on the heels of wrapping up where you and Val just answered. What you guys just articulated is exactly why we felt compelled to communicate to our clients months and months ago that we have adopted AI, that it doesn't replace the very human relationship experience we're delivering, but we are using it as a tool, as a thought partner, to be an overall improvement in the services that we render. And I was really proud of us for disclosing that. I don't know that all organizations have taken that approach and feeling like they need to disclose like that in a professional services environment like we have, but us, we like to be transparent, and we want people to always have confidence in what they're paying for. So I felt it felt a little inauthentic to not disclose to our clients how we were using AI for the most part. So,
well, I think that aligns with when we talk about AI from the lens of HR, that transparency, ethical approaches, compliance. I mean, that's an important aspect that HR can support.
I agree.
When an IT team or a strategic team is looking to launch AI.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Kim, so back to the hot seat for you. I got to thinking, when you first started with us, and maybe it was after you had been with us about a year, and I knew how good you really were, I I believe we handed either our annual scorecard template to you or our 12-month plan template or both. And you were the first one that got me, you piqued my interest on, instead of this multi-page SOP on how to do the job, how about prompting and sampling?
So do.
And if you think about it, this, if we hadn't, I didn't even have my hands in AI yet, but you sure gave me a crash course in prompting and where it actually belongs in some internal documents of ours to get in particularly less experienced people on our team or somebody doing something for the first time, get their mind thinking about how to approach this thing or this aspect of a service deliverable. So with that in mind, take me on a little bit of a journey of prompting then and what you've learned about prompting in AI, where there's similarities, where there are differences, and how you kind of tie prompting together into a little package now in the AI world we're living in.
Yeah, so with that project that we had done, we are really good about SOPs at Inspiring HR. We are very organized and very efficient to make sure that as consultants, we have the resources we need to be successful and consistent across the company. So, we're all able to help our clients in a way that is personalized, but also it's consistent. But what we hadn't yet accounted for is some things are not step by step by step by step. A lot of what we do is think of it this way, or have you approached it a certain way. We needed more of a guide than we needed a step by step process. So for some of our more strategic services that we offer to our clients, we needed a more strategic guide than an actual SOP. So that guide was filled with, for this section, have you thought about this? Have you asked a client that? So that's where all the prompts came in. And that's kind of where I relate AI to a strategic partner. It helps you think through things a little bit differently. And it's gotten so smart in that you prompt AI with something and then it says, well, have you thought about this? Or would you like the answer in a different style? Would you like it, tailored to an HR person or to an executive? Our AI has gotten really smart in that it helps prompt us as we're prompting it to get a product that we really we're hoping to get. And, I think the other thing that's important is it is safe to say that everybody right now, especially HR people, their plates are overflowing. There's so many things to be doing, and it's very overwhelming that I think we approach using AI as something that we can use to get some of the more mundane things off of our brain so that we can use our brains for more strategic, creative, collaborative items instead of how am I going to start this policy when AI could do it in 3 seconds and then I really have to worry about the meat of the policy because AI helped me with the starter of the policy. So I think that while we help each other with prompts, AI is also helping us with prompts to be a little bit more creative and personalized in the work that we do.
Yeah. And what's really cool to add to that is I know we decided, instead of it being the Wild West around here, where everybody had their own AI and a free account and proprietary information went all over the place, we have our own Inspiring HR workspace inside our chosen AI platform. And so every day there's something different in there where the programmers have added something else in where you can enable something for the AI to keep learning more and more about your team, your culture, your brand, your leadership style, your team members' preferences. I mean, I'm like every day I'm waiting for what's the next thing it's going to ask me to better know our company, which just benefits everybody inside our workspace to really tailor towards delivering an excellent client experience that is on brand for Inspiring HR, which would be different from some of our rivals. So it really, as a business owner, helps me feel better about staying on brand. Val?
Sorry,
Kim, go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt, but along with that, with our own shared workspace, we share AI with each other. So I can share a link. And you did it with me the other day. You shared
Yeah, it's
what
nice.
you were doing, so I could see your trail of how you got to where you were going. So from a collaboration standpoint, it's collaborative in a silo, but also we use it collaboratively.
Well, I will also share that I have my own personal AI outside of work, and I don't think I would have been able to tackle gluten-free baking during the holiday season without AI at this point. So, super cool, fun little tool. Val, tell me about your prompting journey. From when you first started dabbling with AI, which is probably before I did, because that's one of the reasons we call you a whiz kid. And I know you went to that wonderful Work Human conference where you learned a lot about AI, which was beneficial to our own adoption and customized workspace. But tell me where you are in your prompting journey.
Well, the way I approach things, I'm the technical person. So my first thing was trying to get a better understanding of how to get AI to work properly. And when we talk about prompting, this is where the human element really comes in when it comes to training and making sure your people understand the tools that they have and how to maximize them. There's a right way and a wrong way to prompt AI. And you need to get specific. And you can do everything. You can do everything from asking AI to emulate your most famous actors' tone of voice and speech patterns in communication that it delivers. And when you think of an crazy example like that, we're talking about asking it to specifically emulate the voice patterns or the language patterns of a particular person and the vocabulary of a particular person. Maybe we provided an example. Here is an example of something this person has said. Can you produce the final product in this tone, in this cadence? The same thing applies for when you're working internally on a serious subject. What is it that I want? What do I need it to look like? Is it long? Is it short? Is it, first grade reading level? Is it college level reading level? Understanding that you're only going to get the product that you ask for. And so my journey was better understanding that and better understanding how that will ultimately help us get better results. And the team naturally and intuitively has developed those skills. But for me, it was important to give that to them at the front end. That if you don't like the results you're getting, maybe you need to ask smarter questions. And we do that with each other as humans, but you have to sometimes look at AI that way. I'm only going to get what I ask for. So my journey with AI was just better understanding that prompting philosophy. And to Kim's point, how she saw how you got there, that's because you put a lot of thought in curating the information. And for us, curating the information, it really has become where we have landed.
Well, that's the curating part for sure, where I think we've all improved. But even, I know, Val, you and I are working on what are we going to do to improve upon our client annual survey experience. This could have been a lot longer for us to figure out what direction we wanted to go in had it not been for AI, because we already had some specific must-haves and nice-to-haves that we were able to put inside a prompt to help us to discern more quickly which tools we should focus on and what questions we should ask, because of some of the things we already knew to be true from current annual survey experience to what we want the next one to look like. So, like for me, if you look at my best AI now, because I don't really do the deep search. I know a lot of people love the deep search, deep thinking thing. That takes up a lot of power, and you got to be really patient, which I am not. But if you look at, I'm actually having more fun with one chain has 6 or 7 prompts in it for me, because I did my normal visionary thing. I started big picture, ideal picture, but to get me to the place I needed to be, I needed to keep pushing myself to prompt further until I got to, and I'd say it probably takes me anywhere from 3 to 6 in a chain of prompts to get to that final thing where, because AI will keep going. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And at some point, I just end up saying, I'm good for now, thanks. And then that's it. So, and by the way, I am very polite to all of these machines around us, because I don't really want a machine to be my enemy, and I'm not trying to be paranoid or be funny about everything turning into the Terminator, but I don't see any reason to be rude to these machines. So I wish somebody would talk to my husband about that. So
I'm biting my tongue.
Yeah.
Lexa and I have issues.
oh, you have issues, so does
We're in a bad place. We're fighting.
The latest Alexa update is a little too suck-up interactive for my husband's taste. So, yeah. All right, so in the time that we have left, about 10 minutes, I'm going to ask each of you. Val, I've asked Kim twice first, and I'll ask you first as we wrap up. What, if you were to go inside an HR department right now, knowing what you know, and they've done nothing with AI yet. You've been hired as you've left me. Don't leave me. But if you do, and you go be an HR specialist for another company, let's just say if it's a 75-person company, they bring you in as an HR manager. They have some HR infrastructure, but not a ton. They have no HR, no AI. They haven't done anything with AI. What do you know that could do for you right out of the gate versus what do you know it can't do for you or can't do for you accurately? Where's your immediate distinction? In other words, what can AI do for an HR professional
Right. You know,
versus what does the human do?
What it goes back to is a conversation you and I have had. What do we really want to bring AI into our own organization? And what we really kind of agreed to was that the longer we put it off, the farther we fall behind. And so coming into an organization that doesn't have AI, I know I can function. I know I can do that job. You know, I came from a corporate environment. That's not the problem. I know that I can accomplish that much more. I can spend more time being strategic and actually becoming more supportive of revenue generation as opposed to just being an expense. If I can bring AI into what I do for things like scorecarding, for things like analyzing information and seeing what's hurting the organization or where employees are happy or unhappy, it's faster. I mean, I could do those things without AI, but I can be more impactful in the first 90 days or 6 months or a year than I can without it. It's a matter of speed and efficiency.
Give me a specific thing. You've been there for 30 days. You have no measurements. I'll give you some low-hanging fruit. You have no measurements for anything, and you want to be strategic, which means you're going to have to get somebody to listen about some of the change you want to implement. That's part of strategic initiatives. What are you using AI to do for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, typically, first thing I do is do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and it takes a while to gather that information. So if I can run reports out of payroll and have AI talk to AI about what I'm looking for and have it analyze that information and immediately tell me where my areas or departments are that have a retention problem, then I understand that maybe these are the departments that are having employee relations issues. Is it management? Is it the job? Is it safety? What is it that's driving those problems? And that takes a while. As I was saying earlier, it takes a while to do that manually. But if I can pull all that payroll information down and ask AI, hey, go back 3 years, tell me where the trends are that, I have turnover. What's the average turnover? What are the departments that are the most productive? Who's earning, who's doing the best on earning their discretionary bonuses because they're meeting their goals? I just get a quicker snapshot, and I can go through that SWOT analysis process so much quicker so that I can come to the table and say, I've only been here 2 weeks, but it's already apparent that department is struggling and costing more money than benefiting. So let's find out why. Let's get to the root of the problem. I'm not going to ask AI to tell me what the problem is, but I'm going to ask AI to point me in that direction. And that's something I can just do that much quicker. Then once I have some information, maybe I can partner, as Kim referred to it, as a strategic partner. I can use it to help me identify, what could be potential causes, what seems to be links across the organization, what are some things that we know from the information I've been able to pull that have been tried that don't work. I mean, it's just a faster analysis process.
Well, and to your point, back to the human approach, and then I'll move on to Kim's perspective on this, is what AI might tell you is helpful for then you to get out from behind that desk and go talk to people. There's nothing
Right.
coming out of your computer that's going to walk away from your desk except you. And I don't think, I'm trying to think of managers who would actually be able to happy to talk strategy with a robot, right? Like at
Right.
some point there has to be a human relationship-based element injected back into this, particularly when you're trying to innovate, grow, implement strategy, positively change, align goals with company metrics. I mean, there's got to be a human element that is injected back into what happens after the data analysis.
Right.
So, all right, Kim. So, from your perspective, similar question to Val, but maybe a little bit different. Just go with the recency effect over the last 30 days or the last day or the last week or the last couple of days. Get some specific examples, things you know you do or have done over the last couple of days or weeks that AI couldn't do. AI couldn't finish it out for you. AI may have been a thought partner, but it couldn't take it all the way. Give us some examples. I know you prompt it all the time.
I do prompt all the time. I'm like tempted to look. I'm tempted to look at what
She's going to go into AI right now and ask her, what did I do over the last 3 days?
Yeah. I think that AI is really good at getting you started. I think that we can all agree that something is better than a blank slate because you can look at it and you can see that's what I want or I hate that. I would like for it to look a little bit different. So I use AI to get me started so that I'm not using my brain power on like going
So
from
started
blank
in
to
what?
something.
Writing an email, writing a Teams post. Started with what?
For me, it is getting started writing a policy. So
Writing policy.
I am really good at the meat of a policy, but I'm not always great at starting it because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with this. So even if AI gives me something that's crap, at least I can take that and say, well, it really shouldn't say X, but it should say Y. So I like it to get me started, but it cannot finish things for me.
Right.
And I think the other thing that I do not trust AI with, so I don't use it for this, and this is really important, is I do not use it for compliance. There's way too much out there. The data is bad data. So I can
Even
get
in the paid platforms, it's not current.
that is correct, even in the paid platforms. So it can get me started with a policy, but my brain and the other resources that I have access to help me make sure that a policy is compliant. Or I'm trying to get, I know what a client wants the end goal to be, so I can help get to the end goal, but AI just gets me started. So that's
That makes
kind of
sense.
my perspective on it.
Yeah.
Kim brings up a really important aspect of people in the AI process, and that's that AI anxiety for people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people on our own team that worry about the amount of creativity that is lost if they go too far down AI. But that is where, having a solid approach and a good philosophy with your AI use can balance out. It isn't there to replace critical thinking. It isn't there to replace creativity. We're not using AI for, do my work for me. And that's important. And businesses that don't understand that going in are going to struggle.
Well, I'll use our own story to close this out because, I always got to somehow direct it back to me, even though I don't want the spotlight. But I think it's a good lesson, and I'll go with the recency effect on this as well. So, Kim, you don't know this yet, but now you will, and Val sort of already knows this. We have a fractional integrator. Call it a fractional COO for people who don't know what an integrator is. Integrator is part of the US world. And one of her initiatives this year was, as we built out our leader team, to get job description similarity across the leader team. Make all the job descriptions work together properly and tie and roll up properly to our accountability chart. And let's get some uniformity to them. AI was a great tool for her to do this. Consistency in terms of how essential duties, knowledge, skills, and abilities, things like that are worded at the leader team level. But in using AI, she is now admitting through feedback from the leader team that these job descriptions have lost the inspiring HR color They've lost the inspiring HR character. They've become too bland. So even though the AI tool got us to job description uniformity, the human element, me, the original visionary for the brand, needs to go back and inject some inspiring HR color back into essential duties and knowledge, skills, and abilities, which I'm happy to do. But I think, that in itself is an interesting distinction between saving time, but not totally being able to replace the human element, judgment, the creative element, Val, that you just articulated. So, well, thank you both for your time today. Closing thoughts. WizKid, closing thoughts? Cautionary tales? One tidbit of advice.
Know why you're bringing AI into the organization, and know what problems you're trying to solve, and understand that success, when you identify what success is going to look like, it's all going to be dependent on the human element, and training, resources, policies, guardrails around their use and their anxiety is critical. So, from an HR lens, it's your people still come first, and you have to understand how they're going to play into the success of bringing AI in for whatever reason you're bringing AI in.
Good advice. Kim, same question. Juicy nugget, tidbit, takeaway advice?
As the teen millennial, I will say, because technology has always been a part of what I do, you cannot break technology. You just can't. And you just have to try. And you have to try a little bit. And if you don't like what you see, try something different. Imagine if we were all scared of technology and all of the things that have happened just in the last 10 or 15 years. Like, you have to embrace it and believe that you're not going to break it. Just try things.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, if too many people sit on the sidelines, you're just unnecessarily stagnating something that's going to advance anyway. So it's sort of, I once heard this, it might have been in the Facebook movie, where Mark Zuckerberg, or who played Mark Zuckerberg, just basically looked at one of his partners and said, "Get on board with this man. I don't know what else to tell you." So, yeah.
Right.
Thank you, ladies, for your time today. Always a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much. Everybody, stay tuned for our next episode of Uncomplicating HR, which, if I stay on schedule, should drop a couple of weeks from now. Thanks so much, and happy holidays. Bye, everyone.